Hello and good afternoon everybody, and welcome back once again for another video of DIY investing. The last update went into plenty of detail as to why I think everybody should own cryptocurrency. So today we're going to keep things simple by me analyzing 4 Bitcoin pairs that I expect to have a lot of profit potential coming in the very soon future. Over the last month, I've been diving into a lot more Bitcoin pairs because I feel as if it's an important time for the Bitcoin pairs, and it gives you guys a very solid opportunity to grow your Bitcoin stack. You'll always hear both sides of the argument. Should I trade Bitcoin pairs or should I trade dollar pairs? And at the end of the day, it's totally your own preference, but there is a time and a place for both pairs. And I think right now is the perfect time to be maximizing the profit potential with the Bitcoin altcoin pairings. If you're new and just finding this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any more updates like the one provided for you in this video. If you're somebody that wants to see more of my analysis or share your own analysis as well, hit the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. Alright guys, let's jump right in the video today. Alright, so to start off this video, we're going with my all-time favorite Bitcoin pair. I've been accumulating with this one for a while, so I'm always going to usually open up these Bitcoin pairing videos talking about this so that you guys know what I'm expecting, because of the fact I am accumulating this and have been for a while. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you're gonna know that I talk about this coin. This is MateSafe. MateSafe is one of those coins that nobody talks about. I very, very rarely hear anybody say anything of this coin, especially not on Twitter. It's one that's pretty much just left underground for the most part, but it's one that's been around for a long time. And these coins that have been around for previous market cycles are going to be the ones that I put more trust in moving forward. Now, from what I can see currently, and what I've told you guys in times past about Bitcoin pairs, is that these cycles are just repeated fractals of the same market cycle that just continuously grows exponentially. And we can see that here. We had the rally up. Once we topped out, we started the retrace back down. We chopped around this little action and held the resistance right here before we made one more ABC retrace back down. And then we went into this little tight triangle accumulation pattern. Really, this is a descending triangle, but it breaks bullish, and then we go into our next cycle. And this cycle that happened in years past is the same one that's happening right now. We have the big rally up, we top out, we sell, and then we kind of hold and chop around at this resistance for a while. We can never make a higher high. And then we finish our last ABC retrace back down. Now at the bottom of this retrace, just like the years past, we go into this descending triangle. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. Technically speaking, a descending triangle is flat horizontal support and resistance, but this one has continued to trend down. And so it's important to note, guys, that no cycles are going to be exactly the same. They're going to look similar, but not always behave exactly the same. Now, the fact that we're still experiencing roughly the same consolidation pattern and the cycles look almost identical, I'm really not worried about the fact that it did break through support. Now, my biggest reason for not being worried in this time is the fact that from capitulation, we saw this breakout in price from these lows, and with that came a pretty significant breakout in volume. Really, there was more volume coming in at the bottom of this dip and breakout than we saw the entire last 2 cycles combined. And so that is always a key indication that smart money has actively accumulated the dip, and I think that that's really what's taking place right now. It's just active accumulation. Now, descending price and declining volume is obviously a bullish sign. The fact that we got such a big breakout at the bottom of capitulation is a telltale sign that I'm very excited about this coin, because this is usually what you see at the bottom of market cycles. Now remember, one simple rule I can teach you guys if you haven't heard me say this before: volume precedes price. So you're going to see breakout in volume before you ever see a significant price jump. And so at the bottom of these market cycles, after they've consolidated, accumulated, and now they're rounding out at these bottom support levels, you'll see the volume breakouts, and then most of the time price isn't exactly going to reflect that. Generally speaking, you'll see a volume breakout, and then price will kind of wait a second and then make its move. Sometimes it can make a down move, as seen here. Even though we got a lot of volume breakout and we had a little pump at these lows, we've continued to make lower lows since then. And so it's just something to pay attention for. Volume itself isn't the only indicator that you're going to use, but it is one that I help dictate where exactly the bottom of these cycles are going to be. And so I've basically accumulated roughly every low that we've seen in here. I bought some down in here, I bought some in here, I bought some even over here, and I bought some down in here again. So I've really kind of averaged into the position more so than any other position. It is one of my heavier positions, but at the same time, the only reason it's added so much is because I've continuously added to this position for over a year. I mean, if we look at the date range, we've been in this low accumulation period for, geez, almost 2 years now. That's really crazy to think that it's been that long, because I started adding my first positions down in here, made a little bit of money on that breakout, but I honestly did not expect it to continue to consolidate for this long. But this is a cycle. My biggest reasons for wanting to share with you guys this cycle is the fact that from the very cycle high of the move to where we're at right now is 1,300 days. This to me is a cycle that has a significant amount of money flooding into it. Now, even though Made Safe isn't one of the top coins, even though it's not one of the most popular ones that you hear about, it's not very sexy in its name, this is one that has proven itself throughout the duration of Bitcoin's moves. And so with this, guys, this is over 1,300 days of a market cycle. Even looking at XRP. XRP itself is only been consolidating inside of its bear market for roughly 2 years. And even then, it's less than 2 years. This one has had 1,300 days. This one from cycle high to where we're at now is longer than the entire last bull market from 400 or from the lows of about $200 all the way up to 20,000. This cycle has been accumulating for longer than that. I'm not saying that Made Safe is going to moon and go so crazy that it passes Bitcoin or anything like that. But what I am saying, guys, is this one has been accumulated for a very, very long time. And these accumulated coins like this have big profit potential. As soon as we manage to really genuinely clear this descending resistance that we have here, which it looks like we're pretty close to, we've had numerous attempts, and you can draw your trend lines a couple different ways, but this is honestly the last one that I'm seeing. This has potential for a bull trap before we fall back down inside of here one more time. But I want to point out the fact that with this RSI bullish divergence forming, we've had bullish divergence since technically back in here, but a lot forming right here. Momentum showing in the bullish favor that the sellers are exhausting. And so now that we're at this descending resistance, I want to see us really break up and out of this a little bit better than we have thus far. Right now, it's not full confirmation, but the fact that this cycle's accumulated for this long, on top of that, we had such nice volume come in at the bottom of capitulation, and now it looks as if we're getting some nice seller exhaustion with the bullish divergence, and we're also temporarily piercing this trend line. Now, we have temporarily pierced this trend line a couple times previously, and it resulted in a bull trap. So just pay attention for that. That is still on the table. But I wanted to share with you guys this cycle because from a risk to reward standpoint, I mean, if you bought today, not saying to do so, do your own trading plan, but if you bought today and held just to the all-time high mark, you're looking at about a 13x return, just under 14x. Now, if you hold just to the resistances of these previous cycles, you're looking at almost a 10x return. And so with that being said, guys, this is a Bitcoin pair. And so if, let's say you threw in like 0.1 Bitcoin now, and this thing does a 10x, you're now going to have 1.1 Bitcoin in profit on the way up. And so these are these cycles that can make you a lot of money. Now, keep in mind, I've been accumulating for this for almost 2 years. So it can take a long time, but when these things do go, they go very quickly. And so it's important to make sure you're timing your positions as follows by a smart plan, know exactly what you're doing, know when you're going to take profits, and make sure you're trading through with your plan. Because that's all I can say as far as this coin. This one's a good one. It's one I've been accumulating for a while, and one that I see that has a lot of profit potential moving forward. So that's Made Safe. Next up is Yougas. Now, Yougas is one that I really have no idea where it's traded. These are coins I find on CoinMarketCap, see profit potential, and then I share them with you guys. So it's really up to you to figure out where the exchanges are if you do plan to trade them. I do plan on trading these, but only with a little bit more price confirmation. Now, really with this one, all you're seeing is a downtrend. We haven't really made a higher high from this point, and so there's a lot more risk involved with this trade, just letting you know. It's not a trade that I'm taking personally, but it's one that I am watching out for. Now, what I like about this is the fact that there is a lot of volatility. I like these wicks. I like to see wicks with your early young market cycles. It doesn't always behave to my trading plan, but when I see wicks, oftentimes price rallies pretty hard to close to those wicks resistance. Now, what I saw and what caught my eye was the fact that we've had this downtrend for the entire length of time with Yougas. But from this point here, from this pretty significant drop and bounce that we saw right here, we have made higher highs, and we've continued to trend up on the bullish divergence with the RSI. So that shows that momentum has 100% shifted in the bull favor. We have had a number of different lower lows in price, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're kind of just consolidating flat as of right now. But with that being said, this is always a very telltale sign that seller exhaustion could very easily taking place. Now, if we sell through this trend line and start dropping lower and make a lower low, it's going to look a little bit more bearish. So just pay attention to that. But I do like the fact that we have had a bigger intake of volume coming in here since we've just trended sideways. Now, another thing that I'm noticing, if we drop it to a shorter time frame, is this very beautiful bullish engulfing candlestick that formed here. Now, the way that I personally like to trade bullish engulfing candlesticks is I like the bullish engulfing candle to engulf a number of different red candles. So in this case, we engulfed about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different red candles. That is going to be a very clear indication, in my opinion, that the bull's trend is now starting to take footing a little bit stronger, and the bearish trend is starting to kind of subsidize. And we're seeing that because we're not really able to make a lower low. This was a really quick sell-off before we immediately bounced back up onto support. And so what I'm watching currently is we have this support right here. Technically, we have support all the way down to about here. So I'd watch for this range. If we sell through this range, then I'm probably just gonna let off of this one and watch it until it gives me a 100% confirmed trend reversal. But I do like what I'm seeing thus far. We have had a nice intake of volume that's came in here since we started trending sideways. And now that the bullish divergence is lining up nicely with the RSI showing seller exhaustion, this is one that's very much on my radar right now. I think that with this one, these are those early cycles that can honestly get very parabolic quickly with there only being such little amount of price action to really look at. But these are the ones that you can make a lot of money on, so it's one that you should pay attention to, and that one's Yougas. The next one on the list is Ignace. I am honestly really excited about this one. It has a really good setup right now. What we've seen thus far is mainly just accumulation. I mean, from the adding of the exchange, we had a pretty significant drop. But from that point, all I've really seen since about here is just rounded bottom accumulation all the way through. And if we pull up a time frame, let's see exactly from about this high to where we're at now is about 600 days. So we've had accumulation for roughly over 2 years. Now, this, in my opinion, is a very good setup. Anytime you see a very obvious rounded bottom, I love to see that. Rounded bottom formations. You have these big wicks, and then pretty much sellers bring them down. These big pumps, followed by immediate retraces, are oftentimes big wells accumulating their positions. Like right here, a well buys, you have a big breakout in price, and then it sells. Another well buys, breakout in price, and then sellers knock it back down. And this is all that happens. These wicks in here are from one big order all at once fulfilling, and then that's what really causes the price to react like that. And so these wicks in here, this is what you're seeing when it comes to accumulation. Now, this was your first obvious sign. This big wick that happened right here was honestly your first obvious sign that accumulation is taking place. And you'll see little buy candles that come in here. Big buy candle here, big buy candle here with volume. Even right here was one. These are your first signs that accumulation is taking place. Even though we sold off for one more leg down, we then experienced our first volume breakout. So right here, guys, this is the first signal for me that this is a perfect market cycle to be investing in. You have more volume coming in with this little breakout right here than the entire cycle high volume. In fact, it goes much higher than any of the previous volume that we've had up to this point. And that to me is a very good indication that smart money is accumulating. Now, even before the volume breakout, this was already showing a lot of signs that smart money is accumulating. And now you're starting to see price start to implement that. Now, like I said with Made Safe at the start of the video, volume precedes price. So we saw this big breakout in volume, and we saw just a little breakout in price. And this is happening at a very significant low point. Like this little pump into resistance doesn't equate to much on the big scheme of the picture of this market cycle. But the volume is so much larger than anything that we've seen that it's got me very interested. And so this is actually a very nice trade that I'm watching. I've actually entered this trade and have been in it for a while. If you want signals, you can check out my Discord. I do offer signals there. This is actually one that I have added to my signals. So if you want real entries, and exits, then make sure you join that. But with that being said, guys, I've actually entered this trade and I have been holding, currently at a slight profit, but not much. But this is looking very good. Now, from what I'm seeing currently, is we've had multiple attempts at the support level. We fell here, we broke out, we came back down to retest, we got a nice buyback. We retested that one more time and we got an even more significant buyback, and now it looks as if we're about to continue up in this cycle. And so for me, this looks like a very obvious rounded bottom formation. This little breakout here followed by an ABC back on the support looks like a first little market cycle that happens at the terminal end of a correction. We had this breakout, we went to this market cycle. Once we found the bottom of support, we broke out and started the next cycle. So this little cycle is the first little leg up. I would expect us to go back up and most likely hit this next resistance level of probably about right here. That would be realistically my next target. If we can hit up here and then hold support of the previous cycle high that we saw down in these lows, then that's going to be your best bet that a trend very much has reversed, and this one's going to continue up in that cycle. But I do like what I'm seeing. We saw the very lowest point of capitulation here. We have yet to break through that point, multiple bounces on that support. The fact that we are rounding out and showing a little bit more like the bullish sentiment's going to take over right here. I like this setup, and it's one that I'm watching very closely. So this one's Ignace. Last up on the list is Beam. Now Beam shows a little bit like it could go down. There's a little bit more downside potential here. But what I do like about this is the significant amount of volume that's come in with this recent breakout move that we saw. Now the thing about Beam, if we drop it to a larger time frame, let's look at the weekly, we're going to see that we sold through this support, and then once we finally found that support and broke out, this breakout was more or less just a retest of this bearish resistance, and then we're selling back through there again. Now on a monthly scale, it's going to look even worse. This is just 100% bearish retest, and now it's looking like even more bearish continuation. Lots of sell volume coming in here, so there is the downside, or there is the potential for downside, and I just want to make that clear for you guys. I know some of you guys watch my channel and you'll see some of my TA and I might get really excited about something only to see it dump. And if you guys aren't really experienced traders and you aren't setting stop losses and you aren't being really aware with your trading plans, then watching my videos and making trades only based off of technical analysis that I'm doing is a very bad way of making money, and in fact you're going to lose out. I've had people recently message me on my Discord talking about coins that they bought based off my TA. And so if you're somebody that's watching my TA, make sure that you're not taking trades 100% based off of my TA, because that's only so much to trading. The biggest part of profiting as a trader comes down to minimizing your risk and managing your risk involved with taking your trades, knowing your trading plan, buying, selling, stop losses. All of those things are actually way more important than actual technical analysis. You don't have to know a lot of technical analysis to be a profitable trader. It's really managing your risk to reward. So if you're somebody that watches my channel, that sees this TA, if you're somebody that really wants to know my trades that I'm taking, which ones that I'm taking, when I'm taking them, you're going to want to check out my signals inside of my Discord. And you can just message me on Discord, you can comment on my YouTube channel, you can email me personally. It really just depends on what you guys want to do. But I want to make that clear. If you're somebody that's looking for signals, you can join my signals, but don't make signals only based off of my technical analysis alone. That's a sure way to fail in this market. Now let's actually dive into this and really why I'm expecting this one to be good. Now, my biggest reason for this, once again, is the volume. Like I've said previously, volume precedes price. Anytime you see a lot of volume coming in, that's usually a key indication that there's a lot of money being actively accumulating inside of this market. Now the thing about this is, even though it does show downside potential, with the wake of the altcoin market looking more bullish, I find it less likely that we are going to retrace. But on a shorter time frame perspective, we have sold through this momentary support. We rejected at resistance, and now we're selling through that a little bit again. And so this support is now resistance. So I want to make that clear to you guys. So what was support is now resistance, and it looks like we're going to fall most likely back down to about here. So this is where I would watch. I'm going to watch and see exactly how this level reacts. If we get a good reaction, I might look to make some positions, or I might try and catch the bottom of support, but it's less likely that I'll do that, and I'll probably just wait for the bigger trend change to actually happen. So this is one that I'm watching out for just for the simple fact it's got good volume. I like this setup. We saw a cycle high, we retraced. After the bottom of the retrace, we got this nice breakout, and this to me looks a lot like Darrow. The same reasons why I was interested in Darrow, and let's go actually take a look at really the fractal that I'm watching out for. Now, even though this isn't Arrow, this is Ethereum, this is the same cycle that I'm watching out for. This is Ethereum against the Bitcoin pair way back in the day. We saw roughly the same cycle high. We retraced into new lows. Out of new lows, we broke out and made our first leg up. And then out of those lows, we made our first cycle high. And so I want to see roughly the same thing play out. This is my reason for watching Beam, is for the Ethereum comparison. Even you could go look at Monero back in the day, but it's going to follow Ethereum a little bit closer. Now, this is the same point where we got the breakout in volume. Even though we started seeing a declining volume and declining price, that is a little bit more of a bullish setup with Ethereum. We're not quite seeing that same thing with Beam. We're only seeing a pretty conglomerate, consistent group of volume. There is a lot of buy volume, which has me a little bit more bullish in this time. But until we get a significant bounce, we're still in a bearish trend, and I want to make that clear to you guys. We have sold through support, rejected at support, and it looks like we're going to drop back down to this support that I have drawn here. But I do like the profit potential with this one. It's roughly the same as Ethereum. Cycle high, retrace into new lows, make the first leg up, consolidate sideways. Whether we drop down a little bit lower from here or whether we start the next impulse up, I like the volume as follows, so I'm watching this one closely. As of right now, the only one that I have active positions in is inside of MadeSafe and Ignace. If you want signals, make sure you message me on Discord. I can help you with that. But other than that, this was the video I had for you guys. Wanted to keep it simple by going over my Bitcoin pairs. I like these pairs because they do show a lot of potential moving forward. Now, I'm really not trying to create too many trading plans with this thus far. I'm watching to see where the market's going to bottom before I look to really take any more trades. But when I do take trades with any of these coins, whether it's Beam or whether it is Yougas, I will let you guys know. Whether it's going to be in my Discord, Twitter, or on YouTube, I'm not exactly sure, but that's why it's important that you guys do yourself a favor by clicking the invitation link in the description of this video so you do get access to that Discord server. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I have a link in the description of this video, and same with everything else. You can all find it in the descriptions with links. So thank you all so much for the support. I will catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.